Hello, and welcome back everyone to our brand new series of War on the Sea, where we are playing as the US and using the expanded Arsenal mod, giving us more ships as well as the AI more ships, and also making the AI a little more intelligent, thoughtful, and indeed aggressive. So we are also not using any carriers or submarines for this Let's Play, which is going to be rather tough if the AI if we do find it's that much more aggressive. So by all means, we're not guaranteed to win this at all. So it's a rather an interesting twist, I think. We're picking up exactly where we left off, where we are sending some reinforcing troops onto Rennell Island with our Battle Force 1, and lastly some supplies as well. It's not looking so bad over there at the moment. Could certainly be tipped in our favour, a little heavier though. Definitely need more troops on top of there, so that's what this Battle Force is needed for. We do have Task Force 18 as well, full of troop transport Clemsons, going over back to the New Hebrides to pick up some reinforcements if indeed that's needed. They will pick up troops either way. If they're not needed for Rennell Island, we'll probably send those Clemsons to this string of neutral islands to increase our command point income per week, because currently we are sat on a total of 85. Not necessarily bad, but I want to push that closer to 100 as quickly as possible, and capturing these three islands as well as Rennell Island will certainly help. And it's nice to have Rennell Island, of course, to remove forward base for the Japanese and get one for ourselves, and that would be a very nice forward base for scouting. We might even upgrade that to a level 3 port, never know. So, aim of today, pick up on Rennell Island, push up the ASW task force here just to get some scouting ahead, and we'll see what we pick up from there. Let's go. Okay, so immediately a Kingfisher has spotted another task force outside of Guadalcanal. We've just now made visual contact with them. Let's have a look to see what we have, shall we? Okay, so we have an Alba, Miyoko, couple light cruisers by the looks of it. And that would appear to be, I think that's another light cruiser, perhaps another Agano. Let's have a closer look, shall we? Yeah, that's another Agano over here. So not exactly the most threatening of task forces. Quite a nice layout to it. Very heavy on the light cruisers, so our destroyers once again going to have to look out. They do have an Akazuki at the back as well. And they do have a Shiratsu at number 6 position. And they do have another Fubuki over here, so it's actually very minimal on the destroyers as well, which is rather interesting. So this would have been ideal actually to hit with perhaps a submarine, but we certainly can't do that. So there's just something to think about, and it's definitely something our surface task force can actually handle. So that's something else. Not going to mark that up because we've just got so many, we'll have too many markers in the same place. Just remember that that's a bounce, I think. Like you see, haven't really made any progress on moving to Rennell Island, so let's get on with that. And there we go, we are in range to unload our cargo now, so let's do that. And I think we shall, I don't think there's any need to push on up too aggressively at the moment. What we can do is bring ourselves around here actually, still north of Rennell Island, but I think we'll turn down south, and the reason for that is because there is evidence already of perhaps an enemy aircraft carrier south of Rennell Island. You can see some fighter denotation over here, and we have seen a couple going backwards and forwards, so that does suggest something is out. Now we are going to send out some lightnings to try and deal with that, or at least a scout is out. So roughly the distance is 970 kilometers there. We can carry a couple bombs. That does give us some endurance, but 250-pound bombs, I don't think they're going to do too much there. We could go for some sat bombs. We have to be exact with our flight one, although Havars are doing exactly the same. So I think we'll go out with some bombs. So if that is in fact a decent sized fleet carrier, we'll be able to do something to that. Hopefully put out its flight deck. So let's have a look, carry on. We've got some scouts going out already, so hopefully our many Kingfishers will spot that before it spots our own or decides to send out anything towards Battle Force 1. So try and escape that. If that is a carrier, that's bad news. Let's carry on. There we go. Okay, so it's looking like we have in fact encountered the enemy aircraft carrier here, just out of position, I think, with our battle force here. We're expecting it to be a little more southerly. Should have gone more westerly when we came north of Rennell Islands, trying to intercept that and get close overnight was the plan. Let's go and see exactly what we're dealing with, though. Hopefully it's just the one, if we're very lucky. Yep, looking like a Shokaku there. Let's get our binoculars on. They are firing at us, and yeah, that's a Shokaku class. It does have a, looks like a Kiza cameo. Oh no, it's a Yubari actually. Yeah, absolutely Yubari, Kumanagara, and a Mogami. So again, in itself, not the wildest of task forces. A few destroyers, of course. Yeah, so Haru, another of those ones, another of those three, and a Shiratsu. We're going to leave that then. Mark it up, of course. We're going to mark it as a carrier group, and there we go. So, what do we do with this? What do we do with this? Because that's probably too far away to catch. Our waves are probably faster than it. South Dakota would be the slowest, and that can reach around 30 knots, can't it? Let's double check. South Dakota, yeah, 27.5. That is just a tad slower than a Shokaku, faster than a Shokaku rather, I would imagine. Oh no, okay, so Shokaku is actually fairly quick, so we're not going to be able to catch up with that. Going forwards towards it is just encouraging aircraft. So what do we do now is the question. Don't want to be complacent and just sit by Rennell Island. I actually might want to go all the way up to Shortland Islands and try and bombard that. How long is that going to take to get up there? 14 hours. So if we go straight there, we'll be inside their radar range within 9 hours. So we're going to get a little bit of time inside their radar range, and that's of course when all the planes are going to come. But we'll be able to get out under nighttime cover and therefore be safe on the retreat there. And I want to bombard that just so they don't have this massive radar coverage and so many airfield planes available. So I'm going to try and go for a cheeky nighttime raid on that. Let's get going. Well, if this game so far hadn't shown that we're using a more aggressive and intelligent AI, I think this is the task force to really hammer that home now. We've sighted what was denoted as an aircraft carrier task force just outside Santa Isabel, and it's not looking good. It's really not looking good. We have a Shokaku. That's okay. Single Shokaku. Oh, that's normal. It's normal. What are you complaining about? We have an Unryu, I believe, as well. Let's double check that. That's rather nasty indeed. Certainly looking like an Unryu. Where is it's certainly not a Taiho because of the funnel and command bridge there. So that's really nasty. That is somewhat on the armoured side. And we do have some really nasty aircraft as well, as you'd expect from a fleet carrier. And we do have a Congo as well in the task force, and we actually have an Issei as well. So this is going to be an absolutely horrible nut to crack under our house rules. Gonna have our aircraft shot down as well, unfortunately, but that's okay. We can deal with that. Just something to note up, there's a lot of destroyers in this task force. We have lost our Kingfisher there. Yeah, heavy hisser. We'll mark that one up, and what we'll do then is just try and stay away from that area. Then that's going to mean that our plan to go for the Shortland Islands over here might have to be put on hold. We'll see. We'll try and push up a little, but I am bringing a couple reinforcing destroyers over here, a Gleaves and a Sims, just to bring back the Summers over here and fill in the gap. We did lose a destroyer previously. I don't want to go without those. It's just good to have the extra submarine and air protection there, of course. We do have some patrolling bow fighters out anyway, armed with torpedoes. We're going to bring those in, see if we can catch out that enemy aircraft carrier and hit something in that in that task force there, but only 4 Bowfighters. Not expecting anything huge there. If we do sight them, they'll be at the limit of their fuel as well when they do get in the possible range there. Could try and go in with this task force and get some torpedoes off. Not necessarily about it, but we're certainly asking to lose 1 or 2 destroyers in the process there. So we'll see. A couple hours later, we have actually resighted, marked as a carrier task force. This is once again the Hezen task force, escorted by Congo, a couple Miyokos. This is just north of our own battle force, which is not very good. You can see it's spotted by this Kingfisher here. I don't want to push up into that, quite understandably, as I'm sure you'll see. So we're going to pull back. I'm going to pull back and run away because we cannot stand up to lice at the moment, unfortunately. Get rid of the marker for this aircraft carrier, it's just not there anymore. Weirdly, not seeing any sign of that just yet. Very, very scary indeed. We're going to move away our ASW task force as well there. Push up a tad, and we'll start bringing these reinforcements a bit closer over here to back up our battle force here. It is still... only saying day 1, which is rather interesting. It's been a very long day if that's the case. Should be getting on to day 2, so still quite a way away, of course, from getting our command points in. Rennell Island's not looking so bad either, so we should be able to do fine over there. Very close with Task Force 18 to picking up reinforcements as well. Trying to get in a little bit of action. Hopefully that cruiser group will come down and maybe we can surprise the aircraft carrier group overnight, but I'm not going to be engaging that Hezen task force anytime soon, unfortunately. Okay everyone, so it's been a fairly quiet day actually. We've just been retreating from that Hezen task force, and out of nowhere our ASW2 group full of the newer type gunboats has been alerted to something. Going very slowly, fairly decent sea states at 4, fairly clear weather, visibility of 80%. Can't see anything too obvious, can we? The eagle-eyed among you may have noticed some streams in the water just over here in the distance there. If we zoom out a tad, you might be able to see, I think there's a couple over here as well. So, name of the game here, certainly dodge the torpedoes, but also try and get some action out of the front-launching Hedgehog depth charge launchers. So that'll be very fun if we do get that off. Going to immediately turn out then. We're going to have to brake soon, but we're going to increase our speed to make sure our turn happens okay there. We'll turn in with this particular ship. We'll increase the speed as well. You can see so that's 3 groups of torpedoes out over there, and it's looking like we're getting some contacts now. Yeah, I can see the first group over here. Not looking forward to that at all. Let's just make sure we dodge that okay. I think we're okay with this gunboat over here for this group and this group, but there's a huge group at the back there by the looks of it. I would bet there's a Type C somewhere in that group. We're going to have to turn in even harder over here. How are we looking with Donald? We're going to have to turn in a tad, aren't we, to the port. How are we doing over here? Yeah, turn the other way, turn to starboard over here if possible, please. And I think we're going to have to watch out for Charles Lawrence. I don't want to take any torpedoes, of course, ideally, but I think we're actually going to keep turning out to port here. It's too late to turn to starboard there. Just turn out and away from this group over here. Barclay's turning in a little too hard there. Let's reduce the speed a tad so we don't move into that torpedo group. And then if we reduce our speed, we can start getting sonar contacts off. So there's one. And yeah, just watch the Donald stop turning quite so hard there. I think we can pretty much go straight through. We can thread the needle in this gap for the minute. And I think this further group out has missed us as well. So we're going to focus then on, I think we'll stop turning quite so hard here and actually try hunting down this submarine. If we press attack, we're going to guess it's a Type B to begin with, so we'll identify it as that. That can go straight in. We should be able to get some decent action out of our Hedgehog launchers. Just about missed us here, haven't they? So we'll turn in, we certainly are. Donald is looking fine, just need to slow down I think there a tad to help out with sonar, and we'll focus on the Charles Lawrence. And that can actually stop turning quite so hard there as well. Keep on that port side turn a little. Yeah, keep a port side going so that we can swing around in between this group over here. And stop pressing evade hazards because that's actually not helping us here. Want to turn in through here. How close are we with these torpedoes? Just missed by the skin of our teeth there. Lawrence turned too much now because we've tried doing that. That's going to be rather nasty. Got a micro to the tiniest degree here. Let's slow down, I think. We should be just wide enough there. There we go, that's fine. Charles Lawrence, please. Oh, I think we're going to take a torpedo here. That's very nasty. That's quite likely a ship sunk then. Very likely a ship sunk. So, let's move up over here then. Try and re-establish contact and make sure nothing else gets hit, of course. Yeah, I've lost bearing on that. That's absolutely fine. We'll just have to keep going. Try going slow-ish over here. Don't know if we can move away from these torpedoes. It's not looking like they're a threat. I think, yeah, critical to critical. Lost our bow completely there. And of course, the magazine's flooded or fired. Not very good. Not very good to say the least. Big understatement there. Just swinging far too hard into those torpedoes. So, it's Tango T going for that. So it's a very high solution actually on that. So that should well be a Type B. Okay, so what we can do is make sure the Buckley actually remains using sonar on that. So we'll slow down a tad over here. And what we'll do is turn in. And now that there's no torpedo threats exactly, we can speed up a tad. Move out towards the general area of those torpedoes, I think. And just move straight over here. Interested to see, I'm not going to do this manually simply because I don't know exactly the range of our depth charge launchers. It doesn't actually tell you. So this is a learning experience here. Still no sign of anything. How's Charles Lawrence doing? I'm certainly losing that, aren't we? Look at how much of us is flooded there. Very nasty indeed. Are we about ready to start firing out? 500 metres away. Certainly going to need to be closer than that. I want to be right on top of it still because we are chasing. So we're going to start getting a tad closer now. Let's increase our speed by just a couple knots there. That should be just enough to keep contact. Very unlucky for such small gunboats to get hit by torpedoes there, aren't we? I have one job, to hunt the submarines and not get hunted by them, but hopefully we can get at least this one here. Very nasty to see a group of 3 submarines, although in my own testing before we started this series, playing as a Japanese, and I sighted with the Kingfisher a group of 10 American submarines. Oh, okay, it's flying out now. Look at that. So it's a roughly 89 metre range over there. Look at that. So what we can do actually is slow down our speed here, keep on top of that, because it's really not going to help though. What we can do is slow to a halt so we don't overshoot that. Don't see anything coming down though, that's the thing. Yeah, it's far too far ahead there, but look at all of them coming down. If that were a decent hit. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to crawl to a halt here, try and re-establish contact with that. Okay, so we have made contact once again, we've reloaded, and I think we're going to fire out now as a guess. There we go. Oh, it's beautiful that, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Keep our speed up. And watch from their perspective. Can we see the depth charges being dropped through the surface there? I think we've just misjudged that a tad, but that's a lot of hits on the bow there. A lot of hits on the bow. Oh, that is beautiful. So the range was guessing on 200 meters there. So that's something to note down. Let's take reports. No damage. Oh, this is going to be a long old battle here if this keeps going on. Don't know how that was no damage. You see how close those were? Very nice little love taps there. Oh, we've got to wait to reload again. That's going to take some time. Okay, so we have made contact with another Type B over here with the Buckley. And I think we're going to drop our depth charges about now. Just see if we can sight that. Yeah, it's looking pretty decent. Let's shoot out now. Come on, please. Just slow down, actually. Bit of fire. There we go. Lovely stuff. Now, hopefully that's roughly right. It's 150 range of that. Yeah, it's just a little ahead there. We're actually quite far away. Yeah, it's another 20 to 50 meters at least there. Are we looking? Yeah, no damage on that, of course. Rather sad. Let's increase our speed to follow that then. Go at 10 knots. How are we doing over here? Should be right on top of that. Reloaded. So let's turn in to follow that. We can just compress time a tad there, reduce our speed, get a better distance so we can fire out decently. And just make sure we're facing that. There we go. Now we'll just get a tad closer once again. We'll catch up. Make sure we're firing from directly behind them. And I think we'll fire at roughly 180 there. So let's fire out. There we go. Big old spread. That's actually looking much better now. Let's reduce our speed again. Oh, still just a little ahead. Just a little ahead. So I'd say 175, probably the sweet spot for these Hedgehog launchers there. But still, we're getting fairly close to them. Yeah, we can see some saturation on the nose there now. So yeah, 175 I'd say might be the sweet spot for that. So we can envelop them in depth charges there. That's critical to critical on that one. That's excellent. So how are we looking on the second over here? Just lost contact, suggesting that we've gone far too fast. Why have we gone up to 24 knots? Not good at all. Let's try and get it still. Can't be too far away. Yeah, just behind us there. So we'll reverse over that. Re-establish contact and try and hit that one. The other one over here is sinking. The number one is sinking. That's excellent. And we actually haven't lost our Griffin. Or which one was it? It was the Charles Lawrence. Still flooded. We might be able to send that one, if we're lucky, back to ports to rest and repair though. Well, remarkably, we didn't actually lose the Charles Lawrence there, but we will go back with this whole group actually to rearm everyone, and of course send the Charles Lawrence back to rest and repair there. It's going to take a long time, but very, very lucky we didn't actually lose that ship with so many important components damaged there. Not to worry though. Didn't manage to get the second Type B there, unfortunately. We did it like we hit it there at the end, quite soundly, but no, apparently zero damage. So it's just a little frustrating there, but not to worry at all. We can certainly live without that. So let's carry on, move down here. You can see we're being scouted out by some sort of fighters. Whether they actually do anything over here, we're actually trying to push in. We did sight that carrier task force roughly moving in this area, so we do have some bow fighters armed with bombs looking for that, and we're being very, very cheeky with this particular group. Going to try and get some sneaky torpedoes off there, but we'll give it a few more minutes and then we might have to call it a day there regardless for today, I think. And there we go. Actually, just a couple seconds later, I decided to follow that Zero, which was scouting out our task force over there. Did actually try to return home, which is very, very close to our bow fighters. Very, very nice indeed. So we're going to stay at an altitude to begin with. Going to try and come lengthways along the ship here with our bombs. Certainly not going to sink it here, but if we can encourage it to politely bugger off out the way of our group, that would be brilliant. We're gonna, yeah. So let's try and get its flight deck out as well. Get it out of commission. Okay, yeah, so we've been engaged by zero. Should have taken fire at will off there. So we're going to do that. Make sure no one's told to attack. We're going to Vic for the minute. Get back into formation. Full speed ahead. And we're going to play around with our altitude there. Make sure we are still targeting this over here. Dive down a bit. Yeah, there's a lot of them there. We can't stand up to all these zeros, unfortunately. So I think we're going to be let down here. I think we're going to get shot down. Even if there weren't any zeros, of course, there's a lot of AA to run straight through here. Just make sure we're playing around with our altitude and such over here. I'm just struggling a bit with the formation as well there. Make sure we're lowering that as well. Actually would not... Oh, getting some nasty shots in, are they? Would not mind a low altitude bomb onto this. Will help out some accuracy. But we're going to be flying right past the enemy destroyers now. It looks like the zeros are just getting on our backs there once again. We've lost a bow fighter. Can we make sure that's not two? I'm not too sure about that. Let's tell them to attack from here, I think. Just get any sort of bombs off possible. Throw caution to the wind and just try and go for it. You get the tunnel vision when there's enemy carriers in play here. There we go. Lost another bow fighter, really diminishing our amount of bombs there. And just messing with the camera there as it's a few hits on the bow there. Hopefully that's just enough to tell them to get out of our airspace there and retreat. They were trying to retreat, of course. Need to make them retreat harder. That will only be minor damage over there. Moderate to moderate's not the worst, but I can only hope that harms the flight deck enough to stop any zeros and attack aircraft coming out there. So give that a second, see if any fires do develop, but we'd be very, very lucky indeed if that does. Well, despite the roaring fires on the deck there, we weren't lucky enough to get a very chance magazine explosion. Naive, but certainly got to hope for these things when the signs are there. But unfortunately, guys, that is unfortunately all we have time for today with this video. Not making, we're making some progress, getting somewhere. Just a shame to not have caught those submarines over here today. We are having to flee from the Hezen task force, making sure we can't get to the Shortland Islands in any time soon. It's got a lot to think about coming up with our very limited forces at the moment. So, I hope you've been enjoying the series so far. Please do leave your feedback in the comments section as ever. Always very, very useful to hear your thoughts on the videos. But I hope you've been enjoying the series. But in the meantime, I hope all of your nights and days are auspicious.